What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Off the Schneid. We're live. We're going to be drafting. Obviously, want to go over some stuff. We talk about it. We talked about who I liked or my exposures a couple weeks ago. Posted on Twitter after 150 drafts, my top exposures, which is great. Let's talk about the people that we like, But I wanted to jump on and talk today about the guys that I don't really like and reasons why. And then obviously we'll rip a draft after the fact. So, I think it's important to also, maybe there's some gaps in the portfolio. Like that's definitely something I want to be aware of. So this will help either, basically reaffirm some things that I feel and think, or it'll make me realize a few gaps that I need to catch up on. I still have a fair amount of bullets left to correct some gaps that I know already exist, and some I know I need to fix, but we'll go through it tonight. A couple guys in the chat. Steven Hines, thanks for coming out. Good day, all. Appreciate you. I've been learning a lot from you, OTS. Thanks, man. Appreciate this. Yeah, I do as much work as I can, and it's like I said, like I always say, like I'm doing it anyways. I'm kind of it's just I'm sick like that. So I do it anyways. I might as well share it, and hopefully someone else can get some value out of it. Steven, what's happening? So let's jump into it. Let's pull up. I'm going to pull up my Spike Week. So this is the tool that I use when I'm drafting. So, best ball overlay is a good one. There's the legendary upside, the leg up side kick that they call it. I'm not a big fan of that one personally. I use Spike Week. Best ball overlay is another big one. But yeah, it just helps you track. This is the back end website. Obviously, you see the exposures when we're doing drafts live. But this is the back end website where you can track everything as well. So let's dig into a few things here. This is all of my teams so far. You can see the numbers here, 152 teams drafted. So I posted my exposures after 150. Nice even number. This is a couple more, obviously, 93 big board teams. So all my entries, there you go. Now it's going to go through the exposures. So I do want to talk about a bunch of these. I don't want to necessarily touch on every single one, but I do want to touch on a bunch of these. So starting at the 1-1, Jamar Chase, that's obviously not on purpose. The 4%, I just can't get them realistically. Actually, this is just the big board. So let's switch this. I want this to be all tournaments. It's more than 4%. It's only 4% in the big board, unfortunately for me, but I want it to be all tournaments. What's going on here? Let's go like this. What's going on here? Why is it not no, it's not pulling it up. Let's see if we can make this work. Big board, all tournaments, draft board. Okay, it's not going to show the draft board. So let's do it with just the big board, I guess, because that's the only way it's going to let me do it. Doesn't really matter. My fades are pretty much my fades regardless of the tournament. So there we go. Let's go over it. We got Jamar Chase again. Like I said, not on purpose. I would like to have a lot more Jamar Chase. It's just a matter of getting the 1-1. If he falls to the 1-2, wonderful, but it's not very typical that he does. So I'd like to get more. Barkley is a bit of a fade for me. This 4% is basically only when he falls to the 5 spot, maybe 4, but I'm not taking him a ton. I'm really not reaching. I'm not taking him at the 1-1. I'm not taking it at the 1-2 or the 1-3. If he's there at 1-4, definitely 1-5 is where I make that click. Justin Jefferson, definitely a bit of a fade for me. I don't think that JJ McCarthy is going to be kind of that guy. I really don't. He's really good at handing the ball off. They just traded for Jordan Mason. They bolstered that offensive line. So there's a lot of mouths to feed beyond, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. So I'm kind of soft fading Jefferson. If he falls, I'll take him, but I'm not going to force it. I'm not bringing him up the board. That's for sure. Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm good at. CD's my most owned first round pick. I think he's extremely mispriced, even though he's still, mid first round. Puka, I'm fine with, 11%. Nico Collins, I'm lower on than pretty much anybody, I'd imagine. 3% Nico Collins, and it's maybe even less overall. I think that we know who Nico Collins is at this point. This is my big concern with Nico Collins. So according to Draft Sharks, this isn't an exact science, obviously, but there's a lot to be said here. There's a lot of evidence. Chance of re-injury in 2025, 82% that he's going to get an injury this year. Chance of missing a game, about 10%. Projected missed games 2025, 2 games, right? But if we look through his previous, history, in 2021, he missed a total of 3 games, right? 2022, he missed a total of 2, 3, 8 games. So that's pretty bad. Then last year, he missed 5 games. This is a guy that has not gotten over 109 targets. That's been his ceiling for targets in his career. And it's not because he doesn't get targeted. It's because he's not on the field always. So my concern has always been with Nico is his durability. He's shown us that he has an issue staying on the field. So I'm not going to be taking him in the first round where you need that steady production. Like if I'm look at CeeDee Lamb, look at Puka Nacua, look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, especially Amon-Ra. Like let's look at just this range. Like Nico Collins versus Amon-Ra St. Brown, give me Amon-Ra every single time. So that's my fade. That's my reasoning for fading Nico Collins a little bit. I'll still get some shares because I do want to mix him in with Christian Kirk and get that double stack on the Houston Texans side. But it is a mini fade for me. Malik Neighbors, I want to be just at the field. Ashton Genty, complete fade, 0%. It's very famous. Not very famous. It's famous. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows why. If you don't and you're in the chat and you want to hear my Ashton Genty spiel, then let me know. But it's long-winded, so we don't need to do it. Checking out the chat, Jordan Johnston, my guy. JSN exposure. We'll get there in a second. I'm a big JSN guy. I think you know. No, I'm not banned from Underdog. Why would I be? I live in Canada, so we're good. We're good here. I'm definitely not. Do you mean banned or like blocked because I'm in New York, or what are you getting at, Ant? No, I'm good to go on Underdog. Putt Daddy, what's happening, man? Best Ball, Fantasy Football Garage, Candyman, what's happening? Rather have JSN than Nico. That's a bit of a hot take, but I don't necessarily disagree. For just cost, yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that one. Add in for Nico, will Stroud have a bounce back? Yeah, exactly. Like new offensive coordinator, right? Offensive line issues. I don't know. I think he probably does. I like CJ Stroud. I really do. It's a Nico Collins problem for me. It's not a CJ Stroud issue, really. I do think he can bounce back. That offensive line needs to, get some, they just brought in Cam Robinson, which is a good get for them, but they need some continuity. They need to fix the offensive line 100%. Tyler Emo Cowboy, what's happening? How you doing, man? Thanks for coming in. Let's check out a few more. We're not going to dig crazy deep into this, but I do want to show some exposures that I am fading. HN, I'm not 9%. That's not a fade for sure. CMC, my argument with Christian McCaffrey has always been he's not going anywhere. I don't need to force him into any lineup, but I do want to get about half the field, like 4%, 5%, something like that. I do need to get a few more shares. There's obvious concerns with Christian McCaffrey. I don't really need to explain why. I think everybody is in the same boat if you are fading him a little bit. But yeah, I would like to click him a few more times. Drake London, definitely not a fade. Brock Bowers, 2%, definitely a little bit of a fade for me. I would probably like to bring that up to about the 6 to 8%, right at the field, roughly, at least close to it. I need to click him as he falls. If he falls into the late second in the 20s, I definitely need to click Brock Bowers a little bit more, but I am concerned with that team. New head coach, new offensive coordinator, new quarterback, a lot of changes. We'll see what they do in the NFL draft. They obviously need to bring in some running back help. That's not any breaking any news. And I'm very confident they will. I do not think they do it at 6 overall, but we'll see. I'll talk about that more as we get closer to the draft. AJ Brown, definitely a bit of a fade for me. I don't think he's a second round pick anymore. I really don't. Look at what they did on offense last year, and you think they're going to pay Saquon Barkley all that money to give him the ball less? I really don't think so. Like AJ Brown should be a lot closer to Devontae Smith, in my opinion, where Devontae Smith is a bit of I'm not going to say a value, but his price is fine where Devontae Smith is going. I think AJ Brown needs to fall back down to closer to the range of where Devontae Smith is going, just because I don't think the volume is going to be there like it was in the past when they didn't have a run game, right? As soon as they bring in Saquon Barkley, the targets drop, the catches drop, the yards drop, the touchdowns drop, everything drops for AJ Brown. Plus, he's another year older. Not that that's a concern, but I just don't think he's a second round pick right now. I really don't. I've added in a couple times where I'm trying to get that AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts double stack. I have done that, especially when you can bring it in with CD Lamb and have that, division stack, that hopeful game stack. But I don't think that, in a vacuum, in a nutshell, I don't think that AJ Brown is a second round pick personally. McConkey, I'm getting there. I do want to be at least at the, right around 10%, right at the field and kind of just over. So I'm getting there with him. Jonathan Taylor, I'm high on. Tyreek, I'm higher on. Bucky, 5%. Yeah, 6%. Yeah, this is a lot of people's opinion, which is fine. That's the reason why people think I'm crazy for kind of fading him a little bit, but I have my reasons. We'll see. I do want to pick off a few more shares, but we'll see where it lands. Bucky 5%, that's fine. T Higgins is a gap. I now that I know for sure he is on the Bengals, obviously I definitely need to pick off some more T Higgins, which I will. So that's a huge gap. That's the part of the reason why I'm doing this tonight. Want to talk through this is, where are the gaps? Where are the guys that need to start clicking a hell of a lot more? I have enough, volume left. I have enough bullets left in the clip where I could easily, if I wanted to, I get T Higgins up to 20%. No problem. Click him every time in the second round. That's easy. But I obviously don't want to get that high, but either way, what I'm saying is, what I'm getting at is I can correct these mistakes between now and the end of big board season. Jacobs, definitely a bit of a fade for me personally. I think the amount of touches he got last year, it's going to catch up to him. He is another year older. He's had a lot of tread taken off his tires. So I'm concerned about a second round pick, Josh Jacobs. If he falls to the middle of the third, yeah, I'll take him. When he falls to like 32, which he does, then yeah, I'll pick off some shares. And I've taken him one time, it looks like. So yeah, he's that's the only place he's kind of on my radar. So as talked about in the chat, Jackson Smith and Jigba, 16%. I'm higher in my overall tournaments. This is just in the big board. So JSN is one of my favorite clicks. I basically have been saying to myself, if I can get him in the third round, if it's, I'm pick 1 through 3, something like that, and he's on the board in the third round, I'm going to take him every single time. That's kind of where I'm at with JSN. Terry McLaurin, 50%, happy with that. Garrett Wilson, wow, only 6%. Definitely need to get a little more there. That's for sure. Trey McBride, I think, is fine where his value's at as opposed to Brock Bowers. So I just think he needs to fall closer to Trey McBride. Why take Brock Bowers in the second when I can take Trey McBride in the third? Obviously, it's not quite a full round of ADP difference, but that's kind of my rationale. And, unless I can get Brock Bowers in this range of the second round, I'm not going to be clicking them too much. Breece Hall, 12%, happy with that. DJ Moore is definitely a gap. I need to get more of DJ Moore for sure, especially pairing him with Odunze. I've got a lot of Odunze Kmet with Caleb, obviously. So I need to close up that gap with DJ Moore. Kyron Williams, I'm fine with, but when I do bring him in, like I said a few weeks ago, when I do bring in Kyron, I want to be bringing in Blake Corum almost every single time. I'm just concerned about his usage, his touches, considering his size as well. Josh Allen, I'm good. Marvin Harrison, I'm good. Mike Evans, I still need to focus on clicking, making sure I get enough of Mike Evans. I've habitually not done that over the years, and I need to make sure I have enough Mike Evans, and I will this year. Chase Brown, only when he falls. Don't love the click right there, but 4%. There you go. James Cook, I'm concerned about his contract discussions, issues, negotiations, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, if he bleeds it into the summer, that's going to be a problem. If he sits out, training camp, that's going to be a big problem. So that's my concern with James Cook, and I definitely don't think he's worth that ADP value as he sits. But if he falls, I'll click him a little bit there. Devontae, I'm fine, but it's tough to click that as he's risen. I should have gotten my more shares, which, that's pretty much where all of my shares were when he was going lower on the board. So, I mean, yeah, I'll click him as I can. Devontae Smith, like I was talking about, needs AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. I think AJ Brown is a 3rd round pick. Sure, sign me up. But as a 2nd round pick, I find that a little bit difficult to do, if I'm being honest. Jameson there, Jalen Hurts, again, like there. I know everybody likes to hate on Joe Burrow, and this isn't a homer conversation. It's Joe Burrow 60 points outscored Jalen Hurts. And are you telling me Jalen Hurts has more spike week potential than Joe Burrow? I like, give me Joe Burrow at his cost over Jalen Hurts. So I find it really hard to take Jalen Hurts at cost, especially when, like, everything I just said about Barkley, I'm talking about AJ Brown. Like, if anything, I'm taking Jalen Hurts with Devontae Smith at the 3-4 turn. If you can get him at the 3-4 turn at the front of the draft at pick 1 or 2, wonderful. But not typically you can do that. So you have to do it at the 3-4 turn when you're the 12 pick, 11 pick, whatever it is. And that's kind of what I've been doing. So either way, I just think like his value's he's a little inflated, if you ask me, when there's guys like Joe Burrow going rounds after him, where he has more potential. He has a better history of putting up points. So I'm confused why we're okay with taking Hurts where he is, but we push down Joe Burrow. It's this whole pocket passer, can't score points kind of mentality, but the proof is in the pudding. And Joe Burrow has shown us that he has a higher ceiling than Jalen Hurts. There, I said it. It's true. If you want to try and argue with me, you can, but it's just, this isn't even an opinion-based thing. It's just the numbers are on the wall. So that's my concern with Jalen Hurts. Rashee Rice, haven't clicked him yet. I need to get a little more update on the injury. I'm obviously concerned about the suspension that's looming. I think the NFL is going to throw the book at him, which they absolutely should, in my opinion. We'll see what he gets, the amount of games that he actually misses, but we'll take it from there. Teteroa McMillan, we can talk about him again if you want as well, but again, it's a long-winded one. I've been over my Tet McMillan, the discussion about Tet McMillan for a long time, and I will take him if he falls into the 50s, comfortably in the 50s. I will take Tet McMillan, but I'm definitely not pulling him up the board. So that's kind of where I'm at with him. I know people think he's wide receiver 1. People think he's going number 4 to the Pats, and that would be a horrible pick if you ask me. So we'll see. But I'm not going to pull him up the board. If this fake 40 time news, makes him rise up the board, count me out. Like, I'm not going to pull him up the board. That's for damn sure. So it is what it is. Rome Odunze, super, super high on. DK Metcalf, haven't clicked him since the Pittsburgh news. And we'll see where he ends up for me. But I do want to just focus on a couple more, and then we'll get to a draft. Let's take a look at the chat. 7 more in a biggest board. I'm not doing a biggest board, Zeus. I think this might be the first time I've seen you in the chat, so appreciate you coming in. I'm not doing a biggest board on chat on stream. I've done a biggest board on stream. I've done a bigger board on stream, and I have 1 bullet left in each of those contests. I'm going to save myself just a little bit of EV and try to do those off stream. So I'm not going to jump into a biggest board tonight. Putt Daddy, healthy Joe Burrow. Now that Higgins is signed, I'll take that every day for fantasy over Hurts. Absolutely. That's my, the numbers say he puts up more points, period, end of story. And the spike week potential is equal. Yes, there's rushing upside. There's rushing ability with Jalen Hurts. We still don't know if this tush push will be, outlawed or not. I don't think it will, but it's not outside the realm of possibility, especially when it was highlighted in the Super Bowl with Chris Jones, right? But we'll see. I don't think it does. And that's not a reason why I'm not drafting Jalen Hurts. All the other stuff I said are the reasons. But yeah, give me Joe Burrow as well. People see the Hurts rushing points, think he's an easy pick. I agree. Burrow gets it done. No reason to think he has a regression. Absolutely. And to be honest, Joe Burrow runs around more than people think or realize. I'm not sure. People just say he's a pocket passer. I'm not sure where that came from. Go look at his rushing, numbers. He had a torn ACL. More than that, he absolutely destroyed his knee, right? So obviously it's going to take some time to recover from that and for him to, trust his body and trust his knee. So when he's taking off on runs, and he's kind of gotten there now. I think he only had 2 rushing touchdowns last year, but when you have the offensive weapons that you do, either way, he runs around a little bit and he doesn't get much credit for it. He's a lot like Brock Purdy in that regard, where they run more than you think. So there you go. That's where I'm at with Joe Burrow. Get out of here. This doesn't need to get out of the way. There we go. Omari and Hampton, I'm trying to click him as much as I can, but he's obviously rising up the board. It is what it is. Joe Mixon, I'm completely out on. And finally, it looks like Hampton's risen above Joe Mixon, which took long enough. So there you go, 0% Mixon. Chuba, I'll take him if he falls a little bit. Jordan Addison, 0%. So much like the Justin Jefferson, it's a pretty hard fade for me. I just don't love this passing offense with JJ McCarthy. If I'm the only one, so be it. I'm not afraid to be wrong on that. You all know my motto. So I'm not afraid to be wrong on the Vikings offense, passing offense, because that's something we'll get to in a second here. So Jordan Addison, 0%. I don't think I changed that. I really don't. The guys going around him, Chris Olave, Cortland Sutton, Jalen Waddle, give me those guys. I do need more Sutton and I need a little more Olave. Waddle I'm good on, but I'm taking those guys over, Addison and George Kittle, Burrow, Hampton for sure. All of these guys are going, if I were to make some rankings, they would be going higher than Addison for me. Kenny Walker, everybody knows he's my guy, one of my highest exposure, players, especially in the running back position. I'd like to get a little more Chris Godwin. That's a bit of a gap. I don't want to be ahead of the field, but, a little closer to it. Who else do we want to talk about? If there's anyone you want to see in the chat, let me know, and I can tell you what my exposure is. But one guy that I definitely need more of is, let's show it here. It's we talked about it briefly where I came to like a realization on stream last stream the other day, 2 days ago, is Jordan Mason. So, wow, I don't really like how they have this laid out. Let's just go over to Underdog and pull it up there. So if there's anybody that you want me to show you my exposure to, I will right now. Just let me know. But let's get rid of this. Let's do this. Let's bring up Underdog. Let's go like that. There we go. Because I want to show my whole exposure for one. It says 151. I'm not too worried about it. Even 150, I don't really care. Let's go Jordan Mason. So 1.3%. I've only drafted him twice now. And it was the last stream that we just did. That might be the one that's missing. And then last night I did as well. So I'm definitely needing to focus more on Jordan Mason, because that is somewhere that I do want to focus on. That's what I think that the Minnesota Vikings are doing. Obviously they don't really have much of a choice, in my opinion, with JJ McCarthy. They're going to have to run the ball more. But they bolster that offensive line very, very intentionally. They cut Garrett Bradbury, who was a lot of money to them and was a pretty good player, but they cut him and bring in Ryan Kelly, right? And then I can't remember the guard of Will Fries that also came over from Indianapolis, right? So they bolster the interior of their line. They brought in a left tackle, they got rid of Cam Robinson because their left tackle is still there. Dillashaw is still there. So, I need to focus more on Jordan Mason. That's going to be very intentional, very intentional. Are you passing on JJ if he's there at pick 7? No. If he's at pick 7, I click him, no question, 100%. Even like if so that's why I like to be top. This is why I like to be top 6, like picks 1 through 6. That's where I like to be, no question. Especially 6. Like, give me pick 6 every single time, unless I'm getting too much CD Lamb. But I'll take pick 6 every single time, because I'll take whoever's left of all of those running backs. JJ, CD, Gibbs, right? Barkley, Bijan, Chase. Give me whoever's left. That's the easiest click on the board. When you're pick 7 through 10, even 11, it gets a little more difficult. 7 through 10, really, because when you're pick 11, you can take the last wide receiver on the board, right? Between the neighbors, Amon-Ra, Brian Thomas Jr., Puka, right? You can take whoever's left when you're 11. So picks 7 through 10 for me is kind of a dead spot. And you can bring guys up, even out your exposures, do whatever you want to do. At least that's what I'm doing with picks 7 through 10. So give me pick 6 every single time, because I won't pass up on JJ at pick 6, 6, 7, 6 or lower. Give me Justin Jefferson every single time, and I'll click him. No question. How is it Kenny Walker going that low? Value City? Yeah, I think that's an extreme value. Like I've been saying, he's my most exposed player right here. Here's my list of, or here's my exposures. Trying to zoom in. Jeez. Of all 151 drafts, there we go. Kenny Walker's my highest exposure, so I think is an extreme value. RB 19, that's madness to me. So yeah, 31.8%. My most owned player, period, is Kenny Walker. What's your Tyrone Tracy exposure? Extremely low. 2%. I picked him 3 times, and he's fallen every time. I have been thinking I need to click him a little bit more, but nothing crazy. I will not reach for him. I will not pull him up, but he falls down the board. I thought there was a good possibility Najee would be going to the Giants. Obviously, he's with the Chargers now, so I know he's not going there. They will be drafting someone, and that's fine. It's the same thing I've been saying with the Broncos. Like, it's fine in the Broncos, if they draft a running back. It's fine if the Giants draft a running back. These guys are still going to have a role. Tyrone Tracy, and then hopefully Audric Estime. We'll see how that works out. But 2% on Tracy. Drafted him a couple times. Not a big deal. Yeah, that's typically who I go with. He's my highest exposed in that range for sure, is Puka. Are you high on Seattle? I honestly like what you do and appreciate that. I am actually higher than most on Seattle. I really am. I'm about to go on a rant here. They're pissing me off though. Like I am high. Let's look at Seahawks. So I'm very high on the Seahawks, period, but I'm high on the passing game too. So the running game, no question. I'm super, super, super high. I've been saying it a lot on this channel. Like, in a Kubiak system, give me the running backs and give me the tight ends. Every single time. I don't care what their names are. I don't care what they've done before. Give me the running backs and the tight ends in a Kubiak system. They've already gone on record. If you follow Coach Speak Index, you may or may not like his fantasy takes, and that's fine. I'm not a big fan of his fantasy takes, if I'm being honest, but he posts good content, then that's all I really want out of him, if I'm being honest. But either way, he posts good stuff. The Coach Speak for Kenny Walker has been outstanding. So that's why he's my number one. And in a Kubiak system, give me the running backs every time. JSN, super, super high on. I think he might have an opportunity to lead potentially the entire league in targets. I really think that's on the table for Jackson Smith and Jigba. And then Charbonnet, I pair with Kenny Walker all the time, because then I don't really give a shit if Kenny Walker gets hurt. Like, I don't care. I have the backup. I have the Seattle backfield locked down, right? That's a strategy that I go with. And then Darnold is super easy to backstack, right? So I got Noah Fant there as well. Give me the tight ends, right? Cooper Kupp, that's before the Seattle, where he signed there, right? Before we knew he was going to be on Seattle. So none of this is built in with Darnold, but we'll see if I click him. I think Valdez-Scantling is one of the most perfect best ball picks right now, like 20th round. Spike week guy. Is it going to show us? Yeah. So what he did last year in Kubiak's system, all Clint Kubiak wants out of MBS is run fast in a straight line, straight in the end zone. If the ball comes to you sometimes, hopefully you catch it, right? Which he did a few times. This is in what, 8 games, I think is what it was. I think he did this in 8 games with the Saints. And a lot of that was after a lot of guys were banged up. So especially with Chris Olave not being on the field, that actually hurts MBS a lot. The whole thing for MBS is run fast in a straight line and take hopefully 2 people with you. If you take 1, maybe we'll throw you the ball. If you take 2, then perfect. It opens the middle of the field for our tight ends and the Chris Olave types or Jackson Smith and Jigba types, right? So I think he's a perfect click. He's one play away. All you need is one catch for 60 yards and a touchdown. Wonderful. Thanks for making it into my lineup, MVS. So I think he's a perfect click in the 20th round. I even have an AJ Barner click here. My problem with the Seattle Seahawks is they've done a lot of things right. And I don't know if you're on the, I called the Geno Smith trade and the Sam Darnold coming in. I called all that live on stream the day before it happened. So that was really fun. And, pat on the back for this guy, because that was a good call. But the problem I have right now is they're doing absolutely nothing for the interior of the offensive line. And there's been so much on the table for them to do. Why in the world, how and why in the world do you not bring in Mekhi Becton? Like, they have literally nothing for their interior of the offensive line. They need a right guard, they need a left guard, and they need a center. Their bookend tackles are okay. They're in good shape, but they have nothing for the interior. Mekhi Becton is an absolute fucking road grader at right guard. He just started and just learned how to play the position, and he's what he was with Philly. He could be an all-pro right guard, I think. Considering what he did in the first year ever playing the position with Philadelphia, yes, he had a good offensive line around him, but man, he can absolutely road grade. And that's what he does well. That's what they want to do well. I don't know how you don't bring him in. That's madness, especially for what he went for price-wise. Next day or a couple days later, it was 2 days ago, whatever it was, Garrett Bradbury just gets cut from the Vikings. You know what his specialty is? Running the goddamn ball. So why would you not go get Garrett Bradbury? He signs for $6 million. That's dirt cheap. Like, I don't understand what Seattle's doing. They're bringing in Dylan Radins for a visit. He was, on the offensive line with Justin Otten, who was the offensive line coach or whatever he was. I think he was the O-line coach with Tennessee. Either way, he was with Dylan Radins in Tennessee. Now he's the offensive line coach in Seattle. Okay, cool. Bring him in. But man, you had Becton right there. You had Garrett Bradbury right there. Go ahead and draft Gray Zabel. He can play anywhere you need him to on the offensive line, literally tackle to tackle. He can play anywhere. Draft Gray Zabel. Boom. Your offensive line's done. It's good. It's in a good spot. You're happy. I don't understand what Seattle's doing on the offensive line, and that's pissing me off. So I am high on Seattle. It's just really, really pissing me off that they're doing nothing to, address the interior of that line. And it's very important that they fix it. So we'll see. Love the peek behind the curtain on exposures and reasons why. Thanks, Meg. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming in. I'm going crazy with the MBS, but fading Sharbs. I wouldn't fade Sharbs. I wouldn't fade him at all. And like I did kind of fall on taking him because I didn't want to, I built too many thin running back rooms where I couldn't pair Kenny Walker with Charbonnet. So I had to have 6 different running backs, but I've tried to mix in some 5 running back builds where I have both Kenny Walker and Charbonnet. And then I can just guarantee myself those Seattle running back points. And it requires that you take another running back before Kenny Walker, like a Barkley or a Bijan or Gibbs or something like that, but you can get it done. So that's what I've been doing. I wouldn't fade Sharbs given the injury concerns that do exist with Kenneth Walker. But it's up to you. Cup and JSN are perfect for MBS. And MBS is perfect for them too, right? It's a match made in heaven. So I thought they were going to bring in Slayton to do the same thing. But I guess MVS is a ton cheaper. So there you go. All you need is a guy to run straight and run fast in a straight line and hopefully be bigger than most corners, which MVS is. He's 6'4", 180 pounds or whatever. He's a thin guy, but he can run fast and he can sometimes catch the ball in the end zone. So I like MVS. He's perfect for that offense, clearly, and Clint Kubiak knows it, and he's perfect for all the other weapons on that team, the tight ends, the underneath wide receivers that they have. So yeah, I think it makes tons of sense. What is my dream landing spot or spots for favorite rookies this season? I don't know. I have my spreadsheets where I've taken some stands on where I think people go. I don't have dream landing spots for any of them. There's the landing spots that I want to pay attention to. I have my spreadsheets that I haven't shown in a little while. I don't want to bring them up right now, but I don't know. There's just the landing spots, like a wide running back on Dallas, wide receiver with the Chargers, a running back with not the Vikings anymore, but it was. Potentially a running back with Denver, stuff like that. A running back on Vegas. Like, I don't really care who it is. That's why I just spread it through. Like, I think there's a good possibility that an Ohio State running back ends up on the Vegas Raiders. Obviously, the Chip Kelly, it's built right in, right? So we'll see. It's more the landing spots that I really care about. Who Hames, what's up, man? Big on MVS now too. Perfect. I know you and me are big on Turpin as well. I'm big on Kavontae Turpin. That's another guy that I'm still focusing on clicking in the 20th round. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's jump into a draft. Let's jump in. So we're doing a big board. Let's get in. If you want to jump in, you're in the chat, you want to jump in. We're waiting on 11, so there's tons of room. Tons of room. The water's fine. Where would I like Tyler Warren to go? Indy, probably. Probably makes the most sense. Or the Jets. Either New York Jets or Indianapolis Colts is probably where I'd like Tyler Warren to go. Dallas might do something and not draft a running back. I think they have to somewhere. I'm not saying they have to in the first round, and I don't think they do. Like, I really don't think the Dallas Cowboys draft a running back at 12. I really, really, really do not. I really do not. I honestly don't. I do not. I'm very, very, confident in that. I've said this before, and I'll say it again right now. I do not think Ashton Genty is a top 15 pick. I do not. I wouldn't take him. And to be honest with you, I would probably take, most people know I have Henderson ranked ahead of Genty as my long-term full career NFL rankings, right? I have Henderson first, Genty 2, Hampton 3. I'm honestly wanting to put Hampton ahead of Genty and have Ashton Genty as my RB3. Yeah, I said it. And I've been defending myself on this one for a long time. And if I'm right, I'm going to be really right. And if like I've said before, I don't think I really can be wrong. I really don't. As far as fantasy football, as far as best ball is concerned, I don't think it's even possible unless Genty finishes as RB1 or 2. If he finishes RB1, RB2, then fuck me. It is what it is, right? I just don't think that's going to happen. So, yeah, either way, we could talk more about that if we'd like. Warren to the Jets is better because Fields was feeding Kmet. Definitely Fields likes the tight ends. So that's another guy. Let's take a quick look at this other guy that I do like. And I am clicking a little bit of. Jeremy Ruckert. Justin Fields throws the ball to tight ends. That we know with the Cole Kmet situation. You know who Justin Fields' tight end in college was? Jeremy Ruckert. Third-year tight end. He was a third-round pick by the Jets. Conklin's clearly not coming back. So I bring in Jeremy Ruckert a fair amount when I draft Justin Fields. Obviously, if they draft Warren, that's clearly going to kill Jeremy Ruckert. But it's not like I'm taking 10, 20%. I have 3%, something like that. So yeah, I agree with this. Jets as well. Yeah. Adonai Mitchell. Nah, he's just, there's some data that I've seen recently on Adonai Mitchell that makes me wonder why I liked him so much as a prospect, if I'm being honest. I've said it a lot on this channel too. Quinn Ewers has really fucked up the value for a lot of the pass catchers at Texas, both positively and negatively. So, and that's what I think I got wrong with the Quinn Ewers thing with Adonai Mitchell. So, yeah, switched schools, went from Georgia to Texas for 1 year. And then I thought the problem was Quinn Ewers there, which I think it potentially was a little bit. I would draft Adonai Mitchell in the 20th round if I'm doing an Indianapolis thing. And something I like to do with Indy a lot, or not a lot, but a little bit in best ball is I'll do if I get Josh Allen, maybe Lamar, Burrow, maybe Jaden Daniels, sure. I mean, Hurts if I do pick them. But any of these quarterbacks, then what I like to do is bring in Richardson and Daniel Jones. So I get my elite quarterback, and then I bring in both the Indianapolis quarterbacks. You could say that it's like a bit of a waste of capital, but I think it's a viable strategy because you can take them exceptionally late in the draft, obviously. So let's take a look at who's in the draft with us. Just interested in thoughts on McDaniels, the head coach, versus O'Connell. I know you said you like Miami, but I don't believe in McCarthy's potential development. McDaniels' potential development, I think you mean. But I don't. The players on Miami, the players on Miami don't need to be developed. Like JJ McCarthy. But don't believe in McCarthy's potential development on JJ McCarthy. Yeah. So eventually, sure, he could probably get there. Do I think coming off of absolutely ripping apart your entire knee and just destroying your knee, do I think he can just step on an NFL field and be what Sam Darnold was last year? No, I absolutely do not think that JJ McCarthy can do that. No, I don't. Do I think that he could eventually get there under the tutelage of Kevin O'Connell? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think he could probably get there. Who are we going? 2 is such an odd place. I don't like being the second pick. I really don't. But let's do CD because I want to be over 20% CD Lamb. Yeah, let's do CD. So yeah, I do think eventually JJ McCarthy could get there. Sure. But this year as a rookie, no, I don't. I don't think that he can be what Sam Darnold was last year. No, I do not. McDaniel as a head coach though, versus O'Connell. I mean, again, the Miami Dolphins players don't need development. Like Tua's Tua, Waddle's Waddle, Tyreek's Tyreek, Jonnu's Jonnu. Achan's Achan, right? They don't need tutelage. They don't need development. They're kind of ready made. You know what I mean? So the entire Minnesota Vikings offense, even the running backs, hinge on whether JJ McCarthy can be it or not. And I think that's a big if. I really do. I didn't like JJ McCarthy as a prospect. I really didn't. I didn't think he was a first round pick. I did not. If they thought that they could develop him, sure. But now his growth is obviously stunted by a year. So they got to see what they have in him first and foremost. So we'll take it from there. But that's kind of my thoughts. I did that QB strat with Josh Allen and Pitt. QBs last year made playoffs. Definitely viable strat to do occasionally. I did that a lot too. I did Josh Allen with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. I did that a lot as well. I thought that was a viable strategy. Worked a bunch for me. Didn't make like money. Didn't make any finals or win any tournaments, obviously, with that strategy, but did advance a lot of teams, and I'm sure you did too, Meg. And it was a viable strategy, I thought. So Kramer 22, happy drafting, good luck. Let's take a look at the draft, see who's in here. Kramer 222 in the 1 spot, took Jamar Chase. Why couldn't you just let me have him one time, man? We got Antwall at the 8 spot, Champ X3 at the 9, Losimo at 10, Green Bean at the 12. If you're in the chat and you're one of these unmentioned, just let me know. We can take a look at your squad if we wrap it up. We'll just do one draft tonight because it's going to be a little bit longer already as we sit, but we got to go through obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams, at least half the draft. So if you're in the chat and you're drafting, let me know if I didn't mention you. JJ is still the youngest QB though, still plenty of time. 100%. Like I'm not disagreeing that he could get there. He absolutely could get there. Do I think he's going to do it as a rookie? No, I don't. That doesn't mean he's a bad best ball click, because if he figures it out by, call it week 12, wonderful. But are your teams advancing? I don't know. So it gets a little more convoluted than he could be good by week 17. He could be what you need in week 17. Wonderful if you can drag him there, right? So I'm just not like hitching my wagon. I'll say that. I'm absolutely not hitching my wagon to the Minnesota Vikings offense, at least not their passing offense. I do really, really like Jordan Mason. I think that, like we were talking about last episode, I think Jordan Mason is like 12th, 13th round pick right now. Should be. That's where I'm going to be dragging him up to. So in this draft that we're in right now, all 6 of you that are in the chat, if you want Jordan Mason, you better take him in the 11th round, because I'm taking as much Jordan Mason as I can right now. I think that I'm 0% Aaron Jones. So let's go through that exercise as we go. Who did we miss here? Aaron Jones is who we're just talking about. 0%. Where is he? 0% James Conner. Wow, Aaron Jones is falling, which he should be. So 0% James Conner, 0% Aaron Jones. I'm very high on Trey Benson. You kind of have to be, in my opinion, if you're going to be low on the starter. You have to be higher on the backup. So same thing with Josh Jacobs. I have a good amount of Marshawn Lynch. James Conner, 0%. I have a lot of Trey Benson. Aaron Jones, I have 0% on. I don't have very much Jordan Mason yet, but I will. That's for sure. So that's kind of how I look at it when I'm trying to, even out exposures and do things like that. So I want to take a quick look at a couple things. Okay. So what do I need to do here with CD? Could bring in Tyreek. Lots of wide receivers are here, though. Where right there. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I actually want to do that. I'm not going to do what I was going to do. Let's take Tyreek. Let's take Tyreek. I wanted to do something different, but that's all right. Let's just try to even out some exposures here. Aaron Jones in the passing game can get there, though. Yeah, I said it last episode. I'm not trying to take the pass catchers at all. Like, if they do both, wonderful. Obviously, like, that's kind of the nuts, right? Like he did last year, right? If he gets 250 carries and 51 catches, yeah, that's your guy. That's RB1 territory, no question. I'm not going to argue that. But give me the touchdown upside, whatever that means. So is Aaron Jones going to score 5 or 6 receiving touchdowns? Not likely. It's possible. And if he does, he gets there. Wonderful. But if he's only 2 rushing touchdowns like this year, right? Obviously he was hurt in this season, but if those rushing touchdowns aren't there, that's my concern with Aaron Jones. And I think that rushing touchdown kind of upside will be there for Jordan Mason. I'm bringing in Garrett Wilson because, like we talked about, that's a gap. I'd like to get to 20% Jackson Smith and Jigba too, but I need more Garrett Wilson. 6% is just kind of unacceptable for me. That's another guy who's on the table for leading the league in targets. I think that's completely on the table for Garrett Wilson. So you could literally say that about all 3 of these wide receivers here. I like to do this sort of build a lot where, as long as Tyreek is still Tyreek, which I think he can be, then I should be in good shape. So yeah, I'm not trying to take the pass catching back anymore. I used to be in that camp where it's like, oh, he could still get there with pass catching volume, but the pass catching volume doesn't mean shit. Realistically, it's half point PPR. So it's touchdown upside with running backs and tight ends, right? It's touchdown upside. That's all we're looking for. So for me, that's Jordan Mason over Aaron Jones, right? Like they showed it towards the end of last year that they didn't necessarily trust Aaron Jones to punch it in. And that's essentially exactly, in my opinion, why they brought in Jordan Mason to do that. So I'm still going to be fading Aaron Jones completely. Plus, there's a lot of injury risk when it comes with Aaron Jones. He's been banged up through his entire career. The dude is, I think, 32 years old. He's had a lot of tread taken off his tires. I have a lot of concerns about Aaron Jones. It started last year. I mean, I was wrong on that one for sure because I was very low on Aaron Jones last year. So I was wrong on that. Absolutely. It didn't end up really costing me. I still had a good year, especially in the big board, but it didn't end up costing me, luckily. But I was wrong on that one, and I'm still I might have been early, right? Never wrong, only early. You know what I'm saying? But there you go. Thanks for perspective. I just believe O'Connell's far-spirited. McDaniel. I have faith that McCarthy will be impactful from the jump. Yeah, that's fair. If that's what you think, don't let me tell you you're wrong. That's for damn sure. Don't let me tell you you're wrong. I just told you how wrong I was on Aaron Jones last year. So, don't take everything anybody says as gospel. It's you won't hurt my feelings if you disagree with me. That's for damn sure. So, yeah, that's fair. I just I won't say you're wrong. I will only say I disagree. What do we got going on? Green Bean, Drake London, and pulls up Drake London and Ladd. I like that. That's a good thing. I like doing stuff like that at the 12 spot as well. I dig that. Brian Thomas, Brock Bowers. I don't I don't mind that. I mean, yeah, I don't mind that. Amon-Ra, Derrick Henry, Josh Allen. That's a nice little start. Nice high floor start, that's for sure. I mean, on the table for RB1 and QB1, and then, top 5 for sure, wide receiver on the table. I'm not saying Amon-Ra will be a top 5 scorer. I'm just saying it's certainly on the table. Ant goes Collins. Achane falls into his lap at 17. That's a nice little fall. Mike Evans, don't mind that. Pepper Tony, I like that. I like that name. I don't know who he is, but I like that name. Puka, Christian McCaffrey, and Marvin Harrison, don't mind that. I kind of like this start, even though I'm not a big Genty guy. I do like this start. 3 straight wide receivers. Honestly, that's not super comfortable for me. I'm not a 0 RB, bro, as you guys know. But we'll see who falls to me here. Can't talk too much with all the peeps in the chat. You don't want to be sniping each other. Who else do we have in this range that's kind of a fade? So Joe Mixon, obviously, we don't need to get into that. Rashee Rice, we talked about earlier. I want to what is taking so long with this suspension? We all know it's coming. What is taking so long? Get us some friggin' information. They know everything. They have all the information they need. Obviously, are they waiting? Is the NFL waiting to see what his kind of injury timeline might be before they suspend him so they don't try to pull a fast one on them and get the double suspension injury sort of thing? He wasn't playing anyways, right? I don't know. It's a weird situation with Rashee Rice, and I would like to get some friggin' clarity. I really would. I really, really would like some clarity. But I don't think it's coming anytime super soon. I hate this range. I really hate this range. Unless you need, I don't know, Jameson is kind of the last click here that I don't mind clicking. And then after that, it's like Joe Burrow, but it doesn't make sense for my team at all. It doesn't mean I won't do it. It just doesn't make sense. I would only do it if he falls in this scenario. And then do I really want to bring someone up from down here? Not particularly. Green Bean takes Hampton there. It looks like you need to take him in the 30s now, which is unfortunate for me. There goes Jameson Williams. I don't want to go Hurts. Let's bring up Chris Olave, I'd like to get a little more exposure to. Keeps some doors open, opens some doors at quarterback for me later. So that's okay. I don't want to reach too far down. That's for sure. I don't want to pull just anybody up. Kramer takes Burrow. Did you get Higgins too? Yeah, nice. Oh, with McBride, I don't mind that. Let's do George Kittle here. I really am going to start to get uncomfortable at running back, but we'll see. We'll see where that lands. Who's going to be the quarterback for Neighbors? The latest Mel Kiper mock has your boy Sanders going there. Yeah, my boy Sanders. I still think that Dable would like a quarterback like Will Howard. I really do in the second round. Early in the second round, just draft Will Howard and develop him. I don't think Aaron Rodgers wants to be with the Giants. I think it's still Pittsburgh for Aaron Rodgers, and that's basically it. Like, obviously, the Minnesota Vikings pulled out today, which is smart by them. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers might just do that too. We'll see. I don't know if anybody heard Cameron Hayward talking, who has a pretty big voice in that locker room and with that organization. He's saying, hey, you want to be a Steeler or you don't. Either come here and move on. Shit or get off the pot, man. Like, that, we don't want to be dragging this out. You know, Russell Wilson could still come back to the Steelers. They are obviously going to draft somebody now. The Steelers will be drafting a quarterback at 21. Mark my words. They will draft a quarterback. I think it's going to be Jackson Dart, if he's still there. So we'll see. I think that they are going to draft Jackson Dart. If not, maybe in the second round. They just went for dinner with Jalen Milroe, which is interesting. I think Will Howard is absolutely on the table for the Pittsburgh Steelers at 21. I think that that's something that's possible. I know that they like Will Howard. They met with him. They like him. He was at the Senior Bowl. Mike Tomlin loves to go to the Senior Bowl. He loves to shoot the shit with the guys there. It's an Ohio State kid. He can win, right? So I'm not sure if the Steelers are going to be patient for Rodgers anymore. If Sanders is the draft pick there, Neighbors better hope he's not starting. Like, Shadur Sanders is not even remote. I've said it so many times, and that's why you call him my boy, obviously. He is not even remotely close to starting an NFL game. Not even in the conversation to be a starter in the NFL as a rookie. I do like Sanders, actually. I'm not trying to shit talk him. I'm not trying to shit on him. If he's developed properly and he's given some time to learn, I think he can be successful. If he's thrown into the NFL, if he's thrown into games, he will fail. Mark my words. He will not succeed. He's going to get his ass kicked if he has to start in the NFL as a rookie. So is it Russell Wilson? I don't know. I think there's a lot of options. To me, I wouldn't be drafting. I mean, Cam Ward, I get it. Like, Cam Ward, I'm okay with the top 5 pick for sure for Cam Ward, but that's it. Honestly, that's it. They might drag some of these guys up the board, and if they do, c'est la vie, man. Like, you know, live a little, I guess. I don't know. Like, we'll see. But I wouldn't be picking Shadur Sanders in the top 10. Not a question about that. Jackson Dart is a little bit closer, but he also is not ready to start right away. I think Cam Ward is going to struggle as a rookie. I've been saying this all off season. So I don't know. I don't know about Neighbors and the Giants. That's why I'm a little bit lower. I'm picking Brian Thomas Jr. over Neighbors every single time as it sits right now. Give me Trevor Lawrence over certainly Sanders, over Cam Ward, over Jackson Dart, over Will Howard, over Russell Wilson. not necessarily over Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to the Giants kind of regardless. So I'm not sure about the Giants. From my spreadsheets that I've shown multiple times, I still have Will Howard as kind of the guy that I think could go there. I think would make some sense. Half the punishment is telling him he can't play when he's healthy and ready to play. Talking about JJ McCarthy? I'm not sure you're talking about MDS. I've been yakking for too long. My apologies. My apologies on that. Where are we at? What do we want to be doing? Jennings would have been my click, obviously. Green Bean brought him in. I don't think he would have lasted to me anyways. I was hoping for Najee, but that's a nice looking squad for Green Bean. I was hoping Najee would make it to me some way, somehow, but not surprised he got brought up. I think that's where he deserves to go. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Talking about Rice. Yes. That makes sense. Absolutely. That is the punishment. Like it actually, you can't say you're injured or whatever. Like the punishment, the suspension doesn't start until you're healthy. So I think that we're gonna go with David Montgomery here. I think he's just the easiest, like clearest click. And I have to get a little bit of running back help and action here. So let's do that with Dave Montgomery. Get my first running back. So I don't know if they can kind of like, bamboozle the league. I think that essentially once he's ready to play, but who says that, right? Like if the team's like, oh yeah, he's ready, he'd be playing this week if he wasn't suspended. You know what I mean? Like, how do they govern that? How do they police that? I don't know. Genuinely, I don't know how they would police that, right? Like, do you say he's ready when he's obviously not, right? And then you get free suspension from Rice? I mean, I don't know. We're going to do Tricky Ricky. Pearsall pair him with Kittle. Let's go that route. I'm not sure how that works. So we'll see. I want, I don't know. I don't know what to expect out of this Rashee Rice situation, but I don't think he should be going where he's going. I don't think that is where, the range of wide receiver 25. How are we saying he's wide receiver 25 if he misses like half the season? At least, if not more. Let's say he gets suspended 6 games and he misses 4. How the hell is he wide receiver 25? I know we don't care. We only need it in week 17. I get it. But you got to get him there in the summer when we have more information. Sure. I'll be willing to have that conversation about Rashee Rice. Right now in the big board, I don't need to try to make that bet. I really don't. So it's a similar conversation if like the Genty thing. I don't need to make that bet right now. I have a whole summer worth of drafting that I can change my tune if need be when I have more information. Right. So that's where I'm at with Genty. That's where I'm at with Rashee Rice. And I'm at 0% on both of them. And I don't expect that to change particularly. I wonder if there will be fake news leaked to the media hoping to trigger punishment. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, I don't know if that's what they're looking for or waiting for is like some info to come out, some intel. I don't know. It's an interesting situation. And I would just like a little bit of clarity, to kind of make a decision, but I don't think I'm going to get anything. And I don't necessarily care. Again, in the big board, you can't convince me that he's wide receiver 25 in the big board tournament, knowing what I know right now. So I'm not going to be clicking him. If you're just popping in, hit the like button for me, if you don't mind. If you like the content, hit the subscribe button. If you see the ticker at the bottom, 475 and 500 subscriber goal. If we get to 500 before the NFL draft, we'll do a 12-hour live stream. Should be fun. I think we're going to get there. I haven't scheduled it in yet, but I will. Appreciate you guys. We're definitely pushing towards that goal pretty quickly. We're tacking on the subs pretty consistently. So yeah, it's only a matter of time before we get there, and I'm sure we'll have a 24 or 12, not 24. I'm too old for 24 hours. We'll have a 12-hour live stream, bunch of guests. It'll be a fun time. So appreciate you guys popping in the chat. chatting with me, liking the content, everything like that. Appreciate it. Makes it easy to keep doing the work and putting out the content. Green Bean, did you get sniped or did you bring in? Oh, you got Rome. Okay. I thought you got sniped for some reason. Or no, I thought you sniped somebody else for some reason. Sorry. Who was that who drafted DJ Moore right there? Okay. Ramondre, I'm a little leery on. I've got some shares. Let's pop back over and take a look at that, considering Brandon Ayuk, 1%, right? I'm obviously concerned about him. Just blew apart his knee. A lot of trade talk keeps popping up, but I don't think his contract is really tradable. So I don't expect him to be traded. Again, I don't think I have to take that risk with Ayuk. I think Ricky Pearsall could potentially not necessarily replace Ayuk, but like he can do a lot of the things that Brandon Ayuk can do and a lot of the things that Debo used to do. I like Juwan Jennings. George Kittle's obviously a good click in my opinion. So I'm a little leery on Ayuk. Like I said, 0% Aaron Jones, only 4% Baker. That's not necessarily like, I don't like Baker, but I'm only taking him when I get Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So if I'm, doing the Mike Evans thing, potentially it used to be a little bit of Jalen McMillan. You can backstack with Kate Otten pretty easily. So not a crazy amount of Baker, but it's not because I don't like him. It's just I'm not 100% sure on his price. But yeah, if I'm drafting Mike Evans, then give me Baker, and then I'll bring in Kate Otten later. That sort of thing. It's easy to do, and it makes a lot of sense. Jalen McMillan, since Godwin came back, he's plummeted and he should continue to fall, if I'm being honest. So not necessarily a guy I'm looking to click right now. So yeah, that'll be okay. Let's go Jaylen Warren because he makes the most sense. I've got to take a running back there. I've slowed down on my Pacheco. I was at like 40% at one point, down to 22. My average pick is 100, so that's where he's going now, which is interesting. I think he's a value there. Not a value, but I think he's an okay click, I'll say there. That's for sure. But yeah, McMillan should continue to fall since the Godwin news. But he's another guy that you can kind of backstack that Tampa Bay situation, which Kramer's kind of doing. He's going to be without the quarterback, which is fine. Betting on the offense, there's nothing wrong with that. Travis Hunter gets pulled up. I'm about at the field like I wanted to be at Travis Hunter. I still want to be at or right around the field. So around 8-10% roughly. We're doing Brock Purdy here to bring in with my San Francisco double. Yeah, 5 touchdowns, 300 yards rushing. Like Purdy runs a little more than people give him credit for. Like we were talking about earlier with Joe Burrow too. 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, a little bit. 5 touchdowns a couple years ago, and then he had that injury. That wasn't the knee, but he had that injury. Didn't run in any touchdowns. So like to see him get into the end zone a little bit more. Back to like the 2022 5 that he had, even if he gets up to 4 would be nice. But I mean, pretty alive to throw for 5,000 yards and upwards, getting closer to 50 touchdowns potentially for Joe Burrow, I think, with how bad the offense is going to be. So obviously I'm still in the mindset I've been saying literally since we came back on the air after the playoffs there. They're going to be drafting a cornerback or a defensive tackle, 100%. And even more so now. T. Higgins is back. Mike Gesicki is back. It will be 100% either a defensive back, most likely a corner. They don't necessarily need a safety, really, but Malachi Starks might be there. We'll see. I'm just getting into my mock draft stuff, but it will be a corner. I'm hoping it's Will Johnson from Michigan or a defensive tackle. We'll see. But I really love Will Johnson from Michigan, the corner, big corner, 6'2", 210, whatever he is. Big guy, run fast. Give me some of that. What do we got? Anybody getting out of line? Any early double quarterback, double tight end, anything crazy? No. No, everybody's kind of getting their guys. I like this Najee pull up. I'm okay with that. That's where he belongs. Definitely, but yeah, this is what I've been saying for weeks now. Najee over Joe Mixon, no question, no question. Kenny Walker over Joe Mixon, though, for sure. So Losimo, you got a gift right there. That's nice. That's got to feel nice. Quinchon, there's a lot of good clicks here, and Joe Mixon is not one of them. Not at all. Give me any of the, either of these rookies, Kenny Walker, Najee. Give me Alvin Kamara over Joe Mixon. Yeah. I just am so low on Joe Mixon. It couldn't be more stated, which anyone that watches the channel knows. So I don't want to look at everyone else's teams because we're going to go over them a little later. Let's look at some badgeless wonders, see what we have going on here. Kingdom Prince, Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, Terry McLaurin, Rashee Rice, Patrick Mahomes, Sam Laporta, Khalil Shakir, Darnell Mooney, Jared Goff. Actually doing a pretty good job. Good on you. Good on you. Sometimes, like we talk about, you see some brainless zombies, badgeless, just clicking buttons out there, but this guy's building something. He's building something. Green Bean brings in Herbert. Scatabo's off the board. We should get a little more information tomorrow, PS. Tomorrow is a big day for getting some info on some and Cam Scatabo is one of them if he runs. So the Big 12 Pro Day, the proper Big 12 Pro Day. So Tet McMillan, that was not a pro day. That was a private workout that he did. The Big 12 Pro Day is tomorrow, where, Arizona State, TCU, all of these teams will be doing their pro day. They all do it together. It's one big event, and we'll get a little bit more information. Depends on who's doing what. I don't think Jack Besh is running the 40, unfortunately. I would really, really, really like to know what he runs in a 40. Much like Tet McMillan, I'd like to know proper what he runs. I don't want the fake number that we got. But regardless, it is what it is. I don't think it changes anything for Tet McMillan. Like I said, his value stays the same for me. Nothing changes. If Jack Besh goes out and runs a 4.4, that changes things for me. So we'll see if Cam Scatabo runs. Tet McMillan's obviously not running. And there's one more that I want to know. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know Savion Williams is doing some stuff, but is he going to run again? Because he ran a little slower-ish of a 40, slower than I thought he was going to run, but I don't think he really needs to, but I'm not sure if he will or will not. We'll see how that goes. But tomorrow's a pretty big day for pro days for the Big 12. And hopefully Cam Scatabo runs. I'd really like to see him run a 40 and get an official time on that, or at least, close to it, because it'll still be hand timed. But at least if we can get some proper information, that would be ideal. Let's bring in Justin Fields to go with my Garrett Wilson. I think Justin Fields is a value. Give me that fantasy production. Give me that rushing upside. So like the Jalen Hurts conversation, I don't think necessarily exists for Justin Fields. It absolutely exists, considering where he's going. So give me some Justin Fields, especially when I compare him with Garrett Wilson. Tank Bigsby is probably the correct click right here, but I'm going to go Dak. And this team is going to be pretty dangerous to advance. Very, very dangerous to advance. I'm going to be a little thin at running back for sure. And I'm not particularly going to be able to throw volume at it. So I'm just going to have to get the picks right, I guess, is what's going to have to happen on that one. I'm only going to be able, it's going to be a 3-6-8-3. That's just obvious. That's where it's going to be. That's what it is. There's nothing I can really do about it. I could have probably stopped at Purdy and Fields, I guess, but that would be way too thin for me. So yeah, Bigsby is probably the correct click right there, but let's live a little. We're obviously 100% done at quarterback no matter what happens, so we can get rid of that. I'm more than fine at tight end to wait until the end of the draft after having, Kittle early. My wide receivers are in a really good spot, so I can wait till near the end of the draft. So I guess it's running back coming up. So we'll see. We'll see who falls to us. But yeah, I think that's kind of what we're going to have to do. Golf 3121. Let's see if he's a golf drafter. Jahmyr Gibbs, AJ Brown, Josh Jacobs, Devonta Smith. Interesting. Just banking on Philly without the quarterback. I don't think that's something I would do. I would do like Barkley and AJ Brown if I had to, something like that. But I don't know. If I'm doing something like this, like I would go Gibbs, AJ Brown, and then pull up Devonta Smith to 30 and then draft Jalen Hurts at 43. That's the kind of stuff that I would do if I'm trying to go down that road. But obviously you have to bring up Devonta Smith quite a bit. It's more comfortable to do kind of right around here at the, 9, 10, 11 picks, something like that. Jordan Addison, Trevion Henderson, Matthew Golden, Jonnu Smith, Tyler Warren, Drake May, Colston Loveland. Hopefully you're done at 3 tight ends. I like the Drake May click. Makes sense for what you have up here. Does he bring in JJ McCarthy? Potentially. This guy goes Jordan Love with Tucker Kraft. That's something we like to do with Jaden Reed. That's something we like to do on this channel. It's actually a really nice looking squad. Jay Klein, 1020. It's not a bad squad, although Rashid Shaheed is not a click for me. Neither is Aaron Jones, but I don't mind that. Green Bean, man. Has your goal been to snipe me in the last few episodes? It's like the 4th time taking Jordan Mason on me. I guess you want him more than me. Yeah, I said you had to take him in the 11th. Took him in the first pick of the 12th, I guess. So that's fair. That's fair. Breaking my heart, man. You're breaking my heart. I won't be taking J.K. Dobbins. That's another full fade for me. 0% J.K. Dobbins. Not clicking him. I have no interest in clicking him. Won't be doing that game. I'll get to Jason's comment in 2 seconds here. These guys might take Ferguson. I don't know if they're in the chat. I don't think they would be. Let's just take Ferguson. There's enough running backs here that I can take any of them, really. It's not a big concern, so I'm not worried about. I don't think Kramer would take Ferguson regardless. I don't know if it makes sense, but it would be on the table. So let's just take our guy and not worry about it. So you're good. You're good, Green Bean. I know you're not actually just trying to snipe me. Wow, with what I'm doing, with what I have in my running back room, it has to be Jerome Ford. It has to be. He's the only guy that's like the most likely to have consistent, startable, touches in production. So I have to go Jerome Ford, I feel like here. Typically, I'd go Trey Benson, maybe Tajay, but with what I'm doing, I need stability. I can't take any more than 6, so I need stability in my running back room. So let's do that. Are you trying to get unique structures, i.e., 2 quarterbacks, 4 RBs, 6 wide receivers in your 150 set? Absolutely not 6 wide receivers. I will never do that. I minimum 7 wide receivers for sure, minimum. I like to stop at 2 quarterbacks whenever I can, whenever it's comfortable enough for me to do. So that means I have to have one of Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, one of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One of those 5. I have to have, not necessarily have to, but Patrick Mahomes, I don't feel entirely comfortable with 2 quarterbacks. Like sometimes I'll do it with like a Bo Nix and Caleb, or like Caleb and Jordan Love, something like that. If it's any of those 5, like I said, and one of, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Dak, Justin Fields, even Drake May, Jordan Love, something like that, then I'll stop at 2. And it's really nice because you get so much flexibility if you can stop at 2 quarterbacks. So anytime I feel like anytime I get one of those 5 one of those 5 quarterbacks, I try to do it. I most of the time will do it. Just stop at 2. And then it opens some doors. Tight ends, I don't think it's a viable strategy to stop at 2 tight ends this year. I really, really don't. I really, really, really do not think it's a viable strategy. I think if you do it, it's a waste of capital. I really do. I think it's a poor draft structure and draft strategy if you're doing 2, elite tight end type of builds. I really don't think it makes sense. I don't think you can do it. So I'm not doing that. I'm always at least 3 tight ends, and at least 7 wide receivers, minimum 4 running backs, unless like my first 4 picks are running back, which is pretty rare. I think I might have 1 or 2. I haven't done 150. I'm not even at 100 yet. For my total big board drafts, I will max the tournament, obviously. But I think I might have at this point, I'm thinking this is draft 94, I believe. So if I might have 2 tops where I have 4 running backs, I like to have in these 20 round drafts, I like to have at least 5 in the big board season, in Best Ball Mania season over the summer when it's 18 round drafts. Yeah, I'll stop at 4. I'll do 4 running backs. I'll do 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends. I'm typically stopping at 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends in the 18 round drafts, almost always, unless it's like really fragile for one reason or another. So yeah, I definitely I'm always talking about that too, like doing different things, getting unique in different ways. I'm not afraid to go 3 straight running backs. Like I don't care what the zero RB bros have to say. I really don't care. I think it was a strategy that I was doing a lot last year, and it worked out for me. When I was taking Barkley, I was taking Henry, I was taking those types of guys, and it really, really worked out. So if I think it's a viable strategy, I'm going to do it. I don't care what anyone thinks or says. So, yeah, I'm trying to get unique in any way I can. Not typically ridiculously concerned about like trying to do 4 running back builds, trying to do 6 wide receiver builds. Like I don't really care about that. It's more getting unique in pulling out players or getting value on players, stuff like that. Taking 3 running backs early because not a lot of people feel comfortable doing it. I'm fine with it. So stuff like that. Green beans not sniping me, but I don't know. I think there's possibility sniping me a little bit. Just kidding you, pal. I'm just kidding you, pal. It's going to be a little fragile in the running back room, but let's do RJ Harvey. I do want to get a little more, I'm going to push probably wide receiver till the end. I think there's lots of value there. So let's do RJ Harvey. And I'm kind of going to have to, but I'm still okay with that, I think, considering my early picks. And then we're doing DJ Giddens. It doesn't make sense for me to take Arendo, I don't think, considering my structure when I have the two pass catchers and then my fragility in my running back room. It doesn't make sense in my opinion to take Isaac Arendo. So let's bring in DJ Giddens and hope I can get some quality, points out of one of these two rookies. If I can, like if these three running backs are just what they are and what they have been, then I'm not in the worst spot. I'm really not. So I think I can make this work. Well, I do some 2 tight end builds, usually stopping at Warren and Njoku as the second. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not exceptionally comfortable with the tight end value this year. I'm really not. Like, I'll take a little bit of Trey McBride. I find Brock Bowers a tough click right now. I like George Kittle. I like Laporta. I like a lot of these guys, but I mean, if you take Kittle and Laporta and it makes sense for your build, like I can be okay with that and stopping at 2. And I have done it and I would do it. Like I do have some builds where I stop at 2, where it's like quite literally Kittle and Laporta, or like Trey McBride and Laporta for some reason. Then I can, but I just think the tight end position's too fragile. Like the points are too inconsistent. I just find it really difficult to stop at 2. I really, really do. I have a hard time with it this year. I think maybe next year, depending on what some of these rookies do, and what guys like, even TJ Hawkinson, if he bounces back to what he was in the past, if Mark Andrews bounces back and he moves on to another team and, we get some clarity there after this season. Maybe Ingram becomes a guy in Denver again, right? Maybe Likely's the only guy in Baltimore and he moves up, right? There's a lot of ifs and buts. Dalton Kincaid takes that step that we're all expecting. Kyle Pitts finally gets there again. Jake Ferguson gets back to what he hopefully can be in that offense, right? There's a lot of things that could happen. Like Brenton Strange even has a big boost, this year, and then he's up there, right? A lot of things can change where I think next year I'll probably be back on that strategy. Last year in the big board, I was doing a lot of 2 tight end builds, a lot. I was doing a ton of 2-7-9-2. That was my favorite by far in the big board. I thought it was a very viable strategy, and I did very well in the big board. I had 2 finals teams, so I did really well in the tournament. And that was my main strategy, was go early running back, early quarterback, early tight end, not punt, but like push wide receiver and get the value at the end of drafts. And it worked out pretty well for me last year. I honestly think, and I've been saying this a little bit lately, is I think that's a pretty good strategy right now, where I might start doing that a lot, is taking these elite quarterbacks early, getting like 3 or 4 of these, top 6 round running backs. So I'll have 1 wide receiver through 6 rounds, 4 running backs, 1 quarterback, 1 wide receiver through 6 rounds. I'm thinking that's going to be my strategy, at least on a bunch of my remaining bullets. I'm going to try to do, because I think that's a really, really, really viable strategy. I think there's tons of value that can be had at wide receiver at the end of drafts. Like even Jalen Royals and Jalen Noel. I don't think it's out of pocket to say, like a guy like Jalen Noel, if he goes to the right landing spot, he could be the number 1 rookie wide receiver. I really think that that's possible. I've been saying that a lot as well on this channel. Like a Jack Besh, he could be the number 1 rookie. I think that's entirely possible right there, right? Even guys like Jaden Higgins, Trey Harris, for sure. Like they could be the number 1 rookie wide receiver. And that's, a smash pick when you're getting them at the 11th round through 20, right? Like 11 through 18, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I mean, that was a long-winded answer to this comment, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. So I want to finish out my running back room. Let's just take Damian Martinez here. He's my last super comfortable click. I mean, I could bring in like a Marshawn Lloyd here, but Martinez could go to a spot where he's like the 1A, 1B type of running back. So let's just wrap it up. I'm done at quarterback, done at running back. I'll take one more tight end. I don't particularly care who that is. So it's wide receiver for the next couple clicks. And then we'll mix in a tight end late. So yeah, like 3 more wide receivers in the last 4 picks for me. I think that's an okay strategy. I really, really, really do. Especially if you have 2 tight ends wrapped up and let's say you need one more. Cool. Mike Gesicki's here if I wanted him. I'm not going to take him, but he's there. Juwan Johnson, Chigakonkwo, Noah Gray, sorry. And then some of these rookies, Arroyo, Taylor, Fant is there, right? There's tons of options in my opinion. Let's do Xavier Restrepo. I think he's definitely the guy to click here. I think the only reason that we're not as high on Restrepo as we are on Knoll and Royals at this point is because Restrepo didn't run a 40. That's like literally the only reason. I have Restrepo ranked ahead of both of these guys. So give me Restrepo at 194, 17th round, almost every single time. That's another guy. It's entirely possible that he's, a little bit of Cooper Kupp and he's the number 1 rookie wide receiver. I think that's on the table for a guy like Xavier Restrepo, given the proper, landing spot. So like if we're the Chargers, right? Let's think about it this way. If you're the LA Chargers, right? We've got Ladd McConkey, bit of a slot guy, right? We've got Quentin Johnston on the outside, who we could say is potentially replaceable, right? And then we've got Mike Williams, or the ghost of Mike Williams, on the other side, who's absolutely replaceable, right? So let's say the LA Chargers go out and draft Trey Harris, Jaden Higgins. That's our click in the 11th round for Trey Harris, 13th round for Jaden Higgins. And they go off and they have, 1,000 yards, 65 catches, 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, and they're the number 1 wide receiver. Is there anyone in the chat that can tell me that that's crazy? That that's not possible? I'm waiting. Like, it's entirely on the table. Even the Patriots, right? If I'm the Patriots, they're bringing in Stephon Diggs for a visit. Yippee. Like, again, the ghost of Stephon Diggs, like, he's still Stephon Diggs. I get it. But like 31 years old, coming off a ripped up knee, that doesn't entice me a crazy amount personally. I'm 0% on Stephon Diggs as well. So if the Patriots draft, let's say, Will Campbell, the offensive lineman, or let's say they get Travis Hunter at 4, whatever it is, right? Abdul Carter falls into their lap. Who knows? They draft him at 4. The second round pick, their early second round pick, you got Trey Harris sitting there. You got Jaden Higgins sitting there. I think we could all agree that's a smash pick for the Patriots. And then you get, Drake May slinging the ball to Trey Harris deep. I don't know if you watched Trey Harris tape at Ole Miss, but yeah, that would fit in very nicely in that offense. So yeah, that's where this whole strategy has been coming from. And I've talked about it before as well. So I just think that there's a lot of value in the end of drafts. Josh Palmer is rising, continuing to rise, which is fair and fine. And I agree with, and I would be drafting him where he went. I'm fine with that. There's just, again, there's value, Alec Pierce can do Alec Pierce things, and he can show up in your lineup with 1 catch, right? Coker, I think there could be some value there. Even Quentin Johnston, who I just kind of dogged a second ago, I have my shares of Quentin Johnston, Keon Coleman. There's enough guys in the 10th round and later that I think you can piece it together. Trey Tucker right there, you just gotta, if you can hit early, obviously. So let's say your first round pick is like a CD Lamb or Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase, right? Then I think you afford yourself that flexibility to be able to push wide receiver. I really do. And I know that's uncomfortable for people to do. I know that's extremely uncomfortable, but you got to do uncomfortable things if you want to win best ball tournaments. That's kind of the way I see it. So, yeah. Especially if you're maxing the tournament too. Like, if you're doing 150 of these drafts, I don't understand how you don't think that's a viable strategy to mix in 10 of them. Right? I don't know. Do your thing. You do you. But I think it's a viable strategy. Let's bring in Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Makes sense for this team. Yeah, I should have steady production from realistically my top 5. So let's get some spike week potential. Let's bring in MVS. It would be Click and Turpin here, but I'm not going to bring him in with the CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson already on this team. I just don't think that's necessary when I can only click one more wide receiver. I don't think that makes sense. I think, Troy Franklin could make some sense, but I don't think I'm going to go there. Kramer takes my guy. I wasn't going to take Jarquez, but Jarquez is my guy. Let's go Parker Washington. There's another guy. I think there's tons of value. So even just right here, Troy Franklin is a reasonable click. Keyshawn Butte could still be okay. Savion, I'm a little too high on as far as my exposure, but that's continuing to come down. I'm okay with that. I want it to be about 20 though, 15 to 20 at least. So I'll keep it there if I have to keep clicking his name. Kevontae Turpin, I think there's tons of value in him. Elijah Moore, we'll see where he lands, and it's a little concerning that he hasn't landed anywhere yet, but it's he's still out there. Tez Johnson, I think, is still viable. Where did he go? I think he's still viable. I do want to be between 15 and 20% again. I'm at 22% right now. Tez Johnson, I think he's still an okay click. Kyle Williams, one of my guys. He's a fine click. Yeah, I think there's value. I really do. Nick Nash, I want to have at least, 6 to 8. I'm at 5, 6 to 8% on Nick Nash. Ricky White, not anymore. He ran too slow for my liking at the combine. So that was concerning. I thought he would be a heck of a lot faster than he was. I do still like him, but that was concerning, I thought. We'll take a tight end to wrap up this team. But yeah, just to illustrate, I think that there's value. I think there's value to be had. Who Hames, you'll see me do all kinds of things. Yeah, good, man. Do stuff different. Like, that's good. Especially, like I said, especially if you're maxing the tournament, like, you got to do some different stuff. You can't just have 3, 6, 8, 3. Like, yeah, that's probably everybody's most common build. Like, I would argue by a long shot, that is the most common build by a long shot in the big boards in the 20 round drafts, 3, 6, 8, 3, by far the most common. Doesn't mean you have to differentiate from that. It doesn't at all. It's just like get unique with different ways of building. That's the biggest thing. If you can get away with stopping at 2 quarterbacks, awesome. If you can get away with stopping at 5 running backs, wonderful. If you can get away with stopping at 7 wide receivers, cool. If you can get away with stopping at 2 tight ends, awesome, right? There's different ways to do different things, but yeah, it's get comfortable being uncomfortable. That would be my best advice for drafting best ball. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. I did a 3.863 today. Yeah, I don't think I've done that. I think the max running backs I've brought in is 7. The max. I do a lot of 7 running back builds when you have to, but I think the max that I've done is 7. That must have been a pretty thin running back room for you, but that'll happen. That will happen. And then tight end too. I've been saying that as well. There's just tons of value. Chig is still here. People like Theo Johnson, I don't, but he's there. Noah Fant, Elijah Arroyo. Some people like Will Disley. AJ Barner, I think, can be brought in certain builds. Mason Taylor just went. Terrence Ferguson, one of my guys, just went. Conklin hasn't signed anywhere yet either, which is pretty concerning. I thought he would have a job by now, but doesn't look like it. People like Gunnar Helm, I've clicked him once, I think. So he's another rookie that's there. Austin Hooper, I actually think is a viable click if you're like the Drake May drafter and you need a tight end and you missed out on Hunter Henry. I think, look at this stat line for Austin Hooper. 86 fantasy points, 59 targets, 45 catches, 3 touchdowns, 476 yards. They brought him back. It's Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper again. Most likely, I don't think that they draft a rookie tight end. I don't think it makes sense when they bring back Hooper. And then with Josh McDaniels coming back, tight end type of offensive coordinator, I think Austin Hooper is an okay click if you have that build going, that specific, you have Drake May and you want a pass catching tight end sort of thing, or you want another option, you need a tight end, whatever, you get what I'm saying. I think Austin Hooper can be a click in the right situation, in the right build. I don't think anyone would snipe me on him anyway, so I'm gonna bring in Ruckert. I don't think anyone would want him. I'm probably the only reason he has an ADP because I've clicked him a couple times. So if someone wants to snipe me on Ruckert, be my guest. But I don't think this guy's in the chat anyways. So yeah, I'm going to gamble on that. If the Jets obviously draft Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland, I think Tyler Warren would be more likely. Then that'll hurt, but I don't know. It's a 20th round pick, second last pick in the draft. Kind of happy to see Nick Chubb not get drafted. I'm 0% Nick Chubb, 0% Aaron Rodgers, 0% Gabe Davis. There's probably a lot of 0% for a lot of people down here. So that's not a shocker. Let's go over the team and then we'll go over everybody else. We'll get out of here for the night, but hit that like button for me if you don't mind. If you're new to the channel, you enjoy the content, hit that subscribe button for me. And we'll be drafting from now until the regular season starts. So buckle up. We got a 3-6-8-3, Brock Purdy, Justin Fields, Dak Prescott, triple stacked or double stacked, sorry, all three. So that feels good. David Montgomery, Jalen Warren, Jerome Ford, RJ Harvey, DJ Giddens, Damian Martinez. I need these three to do the same things that they've been doing their whole career so far. That's all I need out of them. Nothing crazy. If one or all of them can take a step forward, cool. Not very likely Montgomery takes a step forward, but Wright and Ford could, or Warren and Ford could. So let's see. And then one of these rookies kind of has to be a 1A, 1B. I don't mind this room. It's obviously a little shallow, but it should be okay. The strength of the rest of the team is good enough to drag this running back room through, I think. So CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Restrepo, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Parker Washington. I think that works. I really do. I got some nice high floor, high upside, steady, top heavy wide receiver room, and then some definitely like spike week guys, and hopefully Parker Washington takes a step forward. George Kittle, Jake Ferguson, and Jeremy Ruckert, that works for me. Obviously all paired up with my quarterbacks. I like it. I like this team. So that's a way to get unique a little bit, right? Like Jeremy Ruckert doesn't get drafted very much. Marquez Valdez-Scantling hasn't been drafted very much. Parker Washington doesn't get drafted every time, right? So yeah, I can get a little bit unique in those types of ways. Bringing up Justin Fields. I like that this team. It's very dangerous to advance. And, if it gets through, then I have that correlation. And that's really all I'm looking for with these big board teams is advance and have correlation. And then we'll see what happens. We have no idea who plays who in the weeks 15, 16, 17. So, make sure you advance and have correlated teams and then see what you got. Beauty. Thanks, OTS. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. We'll take a look at everybody else's squad here and then we'll get out of here. So I was second. Let's go Kramer 222 in the chat 2683. Who is your last pick though? Let's just pull it up over there in the completed because I hate how it doesn't show everything. Let's go there. Let's go there. Let's go there. 3683 took Daniel Jones. Oh, it did the strategy we talked about pre-show. I like that. Yeah, Joe Burrow, Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones. I dig it. Yeah, I like that. I like that strategy a lot. Like I said, we talked about that pre-show. I'm not sure if you're in the chat when we were chatting about it, but yeah, I like that. That works for me. James Conner, Caleb Johnson, DeAndre Swift, Rashad White, Ollie Gordon the second, Jarquez Hunter. Obviously like a 0 RB type of a build. Don't hate it. There's obvious concerns. I don't think I need to tell you that. There's obvious concerns here, but I don't hate it. I don't mind the rookies. James Conner needs to stay healthy. DeAndre Swift needs to not be replaced, and Rashad White needs to not lose to Sean Tucker. So we'll see. And then rookies are rookies. So I don't think I need to tell you that that's a little thin. It's a little nerve-wracking, but hopefully the strength the rest of your team can drag it through, much like mine. So Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, Travis Hunter, Keenan Allen, Alec Pierce, Adonai Mitchell. I like that. Double stacked. Yeah, double stacked both quarterback teams, Cincinnati and Indy. So I like that. Banking on the Tampa Bay offense, which is a fine bet. Travis Hunter, reigning Heisman, number 1 wide receiver drafted, kind of. Keenan Allen's a concern that he's still available. No one signed him. I'm kind of including those two as one, Chris Godwin and McMillan, because you need one of them to show up most times with, Chase and Higgins. I probably would have rather try to find a way. If it were me, given what you did with Cincinnati and then Tampa Bay here and your thin running back room, I probably would have tried to go with 2 tight ends. I don't mind this at all with Burrow in the Indy, but you went McBride, which is fantastic, and then Pitts I think is good enough. I would have forced in it feels uncomfortable, and I wouldn't have been super comfortable with myself, but I probably would have stopped at just Pitts and Allen or McBride. Sorry, Pitts and McBride, and stopped at 2 tight ends, and then brought in another wide receiver. Is probably what I would have liked to do. Just because you're banking on Cincinnati, which is fine. You're banking on Tampa Bay, which is fine, and you're banking on Indy, which is a little bit sketchy. And then Keenan Allen, obviously there's some concerns there. So I would have, you basically you can really only ask for most times. Like there will obviously be weeks where they both pop in, but most of the time it's going to be Chase or Higgins, or like one has 25 points and the other has 11 or something, right? But then Godwin and McMillan, most likely only one of them are showing up in your lineup. Pierce and Mitchell, only one of them are showing up in your lineup, right? So it gets a little dicey in that regard. So I probably would have tried to stop at 2 tight ends and brought in another wide receiver personally. Not saying you're wrong or anything, so it'll work. But that's just my 2 cents on it. Who else do we got here? Ant Wall, let's take a look. Baker Mayfield, CJ Stroud, Derek Carr. I like that. That'll definitely play. A little value on CJ. A little value on Carr. That feels nice. HN, Cook, Tracy, Spears, Dowdle, and Corum. I like it. I mean, value on Dowdle, so that's fine. Handcuff as well. That's okay. Value on Spears, that feels good. Value on Corum, yeah. I mean, that'll work, especially with the value. So quality room. Nico, Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, Christian Kirk, Keon Coleman, Wan'Dale Robinson, Bub Means. We have a Bub Means sighting. I don't hate that click, actually. I really don't. I'm not doing it, but I don't mind it. I really don't mind it at all. Pairs up with obviously Derek Carr. You just wanted to bring in a pass catcher. Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind that. Juwan Johnson. You got double stack Houston. I don't mind that. Sniped a little bit on some Tampa Bay players, I think, because Kramer was doing that a little bit, but that's okay. Yeah, that'll work. Njoku, Schultz, Juwan Johnson, that's fine. That'll definitely play. Do you have any rookies? That's crazy. I only have I only have one or two where I don't have any rookies, and it feels weird, but it doesn't mean it can't win, that's for sure. I don't hate that. Champ X3. We got Josh Allen, Bo Nix. I like that a lot. Like stopping at 2 makes sense. Derrick Henry, Chase Brown at a little discount. I don't mind that. Alvin Kamara, a little discount. I love Tony Pollard, Eckler. I'm not a Kareem Hunt guy, but I'm okay with the click. That's a quality room. Could have stopped at 5, really. You definitely could have stopped at 5. And I probably would have, especially with Derrick Henry. Like when you have that type of talent at the top of your running back room, I think Hunt is just completely, I'm not going to say useless, but unnecessary in this build. You know, I love Tony Pollard. Kamara's Kamara. Chase Brown has a solid role now. I think his role is solidified. The Bengals might draft a running back, maybe at some point, but it will not be early. So I'm not worried about Chase Brown's role at all, but I probably would have stopped at 5 running backs here. But it is what it is. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Cortland Sutton, Rashad Bateman, Adam Thielen, Dontavion Wicks, Josh Palmer, I like. Yoshi Voss, Keyshawn Butte, Mike Williams. I'm not picking Mike Williams right now, but I get it if people do. Evan Ingram, Likely, and Goddard. I don't mind that. So you got double stack Denver. I dig that. You got Palmer with Josh Allen, and that's it. Yeah, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, this will work. High floor with Amon-Ra. He's going to be in your lineup every week. Cortland Sutton probably will be. Obviously thins out from there, but he threw some volume at it. 2.693. That's what gives you the flexibility when you stop at 2 quarterbacks, right? You can still, like, I probably would have went 2-5-10-3. Like I would have brought in another wide receiver instead of Kareem Hunt. Yeah, that would have been fun. That would have been fun if we did that. And then if you can stop at 2 quarterbacks, that's what I was saying earlier. Like I'm going to do a lot of the first 6 rounds, 1 quarterback, 4 running backs, and then 1 wide receiver. And then that gives me the flexibility to stop at 2 quarterbacks and stop at 5 running backs. And then I can get really creative with my wide receivers. And then, potentially tight ends. You're still doing 3 tight ends, but I could do 10 wide receivers in those types of builds. So yeah, that's probably what I would have done here, but I don't mind this squad. It definitely works. It's high likelihood to advance and little correlation, especially with Denver. So don't mind it at all. Lolsimo, Trevor Lawrence, Michael Penix, Cam Ward, Jackson Dart. I don't mind going to 4 quarterbacks there. I don't mind that at all. I think that's the right thing to do. 4-5-9-2. We'll see the rest of the team, but I don't mind that at all. Kyron Williams, Chuba Hubbard, Kenny Walker, Travis Etienne, Elijah Mitchell. I don't mind that. Obviously, it's a little uncomfortable. It's a little thin, but your top 3 are in good shape. So I'm not a big Travis Etienne guy at all. And Elijah Mitchell, I have my concerns as well, but doesn't mean it can't work. I don't mind this. Obviously, you had to sacrifice somewhere when you took 4 quarterbacks, and I don't mind taking the 4 quarterbacks. So I don't despise what you did. Obviously, you bring in Etienne with Trevor Lawrence, so that's fine as the pass catching running back. You got Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah, and then the flexibility with the 2 tight ends. Again, you have to sacrifice somewhere. I don't mind this though. With Bowers, you can get away with it, much like the McBride conversation we had earlier. Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Worthy, Luther Burden, Josh Downs, Stephon Diggs, Isaiah Bond, Jalen Knoll, Amari Cooper. A lot of question marks here with obviously Diggs. I'm not a Bond guy. Cooper, he's falling regularly into the 200s now. I don't mind the Troy Franklin click at all though. Should get you by. I mean, Worthy and Thomas. This room's going to depend on Worthy. This entire wide receiver room is going to depend on Xavier Worthy, in my opinion. Thomas, you know what you're getting for the most part. You need Worthy to take a little bit of a step forward. Downs needs to just be what he was last year. One of these rookies has to be kind of a guy, like a number 2 option in the offense. but I think this will work. Bowers will get you by pretty much every week, and then Kelsey will chip in sometimes, so that's fine. You can piece it together at quarterback. Your running backs are okay. I'm sure this is probably a little bit of a unique build for you for sure. But I don't hate it. It's just the wide receiver room definitely has a lot of uncomfortableness to it for me. You're probably right. The hope is Travis Hunter is him. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. If he's just playing wide receiver, I think that is on the table. It's just a matter of how much he plays wide receiver, right? So if he was 100% wide receiver, he I think he probably would be that guy. But we'll see how much he plays on defense. How did my Foosh Cooper click today? Hopefully only. Yeah, I don't think I'm clicking him even in like the 20th. Honestly, I find it extremely difficult to click Amari Cooper anywhere, especially how he's not even on a team right now. Yeah, that's a big concern. Last but not least, we got Green Bean in the 12 spot. Caleb Williams, Justin Herbert. Like I've said a lot about this type of build. I like it. It's a little uncomfortable, but I do like it. Anytime you can stop it too and get that flexibility, it feels really good. So I'm okay with that. Should be fine. Amari Hampton, Najee Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, Cam Scatabo, Jordan Mason, Brashard Smith, and Antonio Gibson. You're doing a lot of this right now, aren't you, Green Bean? Ramondre and Antonio Gibson. I don't mind that strategy. I don't mind it at all. I like this room a lot. Obviously, Hampton and Najee are very good clicks in my opinion. And then I like the Jordan Mason click. Obviously, that was my plan. So I like this room. You probably could have got away without Brashard Smith in this one and just brought in Gibson later with Ramondre, right? Like you're banking on Hampton and Najee being what we expect them to be, and they should be. So draft like you're right. And then you're taking that safety with the New England backfield. Then Cam Scatabo, is going to be what he's going to be. We'll see. Jordan Mason, I think, he'll have a pretty good role in that offense. So I think you could have been done without Brashard Smith in this room personally. Drake London, Lad McConkey, Roma Dunze, Juwan Jennings, Quentin Johnston, Jaden Higgins, Royals, and Downey Brown. This is a sick wide receiver room. That's awesome. I like it a lot. You got the double stack Chargers, double stack Bears. I like that a lot. I love this tight end room. This is a quality squad. I would have went without Brashard Smith here. And I guess just brought in a third quarterback. I guess it's fine, actually, because where else you don't need anything anywhere else. So it's fine. I guess it's a free pick. Take whatever you want. So Brashard Smith is okay. I like this squad. This might be the best one of the bunch, including mine. So yeah, good squad, Green Bean. Well done. Even though you sniped me on Jordan Mason. It's kind of rude, but I like it. Well done. Let's wrap it up. Let's get out of here. If you're just popping out, you're just coming in, hit the like button for me if you don't mind. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. We're getting closer to the goal. We'll be back maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, something like that. Either tomorrow or the next day. What are we? Wednesday. So either Thursday or Friday for sure. One of those 2 days, and then on the weekend we'll be in as well again. So hit the notification bell so you know when we're going live. No worries, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, we'll get out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow, the next day. Like I always say on Off the Schneid, if you're afraid to be wrong, you'll never be right. Hopefully tonight one of us were right, and we banked the tournament. So we'll see you guys soon. Have a great night.